Ramsgate, England, an old coastal town in the county of Kent. In January 1740, a great tragedy took place here, 8 kilometers from the coast. A Dutch ship with 300 souls on board perished on the Goodwin Sands. There were no survivors. In this film, we study the wreck of the Rooswijk. The study is a unique cooperation between the Netherlands and the UK. Using cutting-edge technology, we look at the remains of the wreck to find the pieces that make up the puzzle of the story of the Rooswijk. The Rooswijk, a so-called boatschip, was built in 1737 in the VOC Chamber of Amsterdam. Its purpose was to trade with the Dutch colonies in Indonesia. On its second voyage, however, the ship perished in January 1740 on the infamous Goodwin Sands. There were no survivors. Because the ship was on its way out to the colonies, it was fully loaded with goods and supplies. A large number of objects have been recuperated on previous salvage dives in 2004 and 2005. Many silver bars and coins such as these were recovered, as well as other everyday items like the small oil lamp and a weapon still bearing the inscription of the VOC, and this beautifully preserved set of lenses and glasses. One of the goals of the maritime program by the Dutch Cultural Heritage Agency is to protect shipwrecks that lie abroad. In 2014, the RCE determined that there are still many unanswered questions surrounding the wreck of the Rooswijk.
De Rooswijk is van de VOC en dus is een van die wrakken waar wij ons verantwoordelijk voor voelen, waar ook wij een eigendom op claimen. Nou, zo'n eigendom claimen doe je niet door er een vlag neer te zetten en zeggen van en dit is van ons en jullie verder afblijven. Nee, het ligt in Engelse wateren, dus de Engelsen hebben daar ook een stem over. Sterker nog, zij beheren die scheepswrakken. We willen ook heel graag dat zij dat met name doen en dat wij helpen. Maar omdat wij ons verantwoordelijk voelen, moeten we dat ook kunnen tonen aan de Engelse overheid. Vandaar dus dat wij met Historic England samenwerken om dus dat beheer samen te doen. En dat beheer kan zijn in situ bescherming, dus bescherming op de bodem. Maar het kan ook een onderzoek zijn, zoals een opgraving.
As we said, the Goodwin Sands is a notorious site. The Goodwin Sands is a sandbank stretching out for almost 16 kilometers. The ground is very volatile and the sand is always shifting around. 2,000 ships have perished here. The most recent survey data is from 2015, so it's necessary to conduct a new survey to learn the current state of the wreck. July 2016. This is the Predator, a 10-meter-long catamaran that today will be transformed into a research vessel. To acquire accurate data from the site, the team uses 4 different techniques. First, the magnetometer and the side-scan sonar are deployed above the site. The magnetometer works like a big metal detector and enables the team to differentiate between iron, wood, and stone. The side-scan sonar disperses sound waves across the wreck and uses the return images to map out a detailed picture of the wreck. On the port side of the ship, we find the sub-bottom profiler and the multi-beam. The sub-bottom profiler looks down vertically into the ocean floor and detects wreckage up to a few meters under the sand. This allows the team to detect any hidden wreckage. And then there is the multi-beam. The multi-beam sends out hundreds of sound waves and uses their reflection to map out a 3D image of the site.
So we're going to use all of these techniques, put them all together, and we should end up with a very nice topographic map of the seabed. We shall end up with data that will allow us to sonify small features and map out the areas of wreckage. We'll be able to detect whether there's any ferrous, like iron material, on or under the seabed, and we'll also get an idea of what's happening underneath the sand that we can see.
In 2004, the wreck of the Rooswijk was discovered by amateur diver Ken Welling. A year later, the first excavation took place. A team of archaeologists and commercial divers were granted a contract by the Dutch government. Diver Peter McGowan was first on site.
I climbed out of the wet bell and went down a hill on the seabed about 5 metres and found concretions, which I wasn't too sure if it was boxes or not, so I went on a bit further and found nothing but seabed. The visibility was only about a metre, well, not less than a metre. You could see your hands about there, and when I got back to the concretion I had to sit on my knees and I had to put the light right down, and I could see into one of the boxes and I could see rows of silver ingots, so I knew we'd found it. And after that I had a look about the seabed and I moved my hand very swiftly and the seabed lifted and there was rows and rows and rows of silver coins. So I put my hand in the seabed and brought it up, and all these coins fell out between my fingers.
The team found over 1,000 silver bars and some 36,000 coins. A quarter of the find was handed over to the Dutch government. The rest was awarded to the team. Nowadays, the site of the Rooswijk is protected as one of the 52 protected sites off the coast of the UK, which means that the RCE has to work with the right institutions in the UK.
The Rooswijk is one of only the 52 protected wreck sites. It's highly significant, and it's also a site that's at risk because of where it is on the Goodwin Sands. It's in a very changing environment, and it's very important that we do something with it, not just for sort of everybody in England, but for everyone over in the Netherlands as well, and throughout Europe. It's our shared cultural heritage. So it's really important that we're undertaking this partnership project that will allow a large amount of people to enjoy, value and care for the site in future.
Om een goed beeld te krijgen van die Rooswijk is samenwerking cruciaal. En daarom hebben wij contact gezocht met niet alleen maar Historic England, die de beheerder is van deze vindplaats, maar ook degene die de monitoring hebben gedaan, dus die jarenlang gedoken hebben op het wrak om te kijken hoe die zich onder water bevond en of daar veranderingen plaatsvonden. Maar ook de bergers uit 2005. Die zitten allemaal nu bij ons in het team. En we kunnen op basis daarvan kunnen we alle gegevens die er in de afgelopen jaren verzameld is bij elkaar zetten. En met alle gegevens die we nu verzamelen kunnen we die gegevens, die oudere gegevens ook koppelen aan elkaar.
September 2016. 2 months after the survey, Martijn Manders brought together all of the people involved with the Rooswijk, and the dive is underway.
De wind komt nu van het zuiden en die maakt dus langs de Engelse kust een heel lang stuk totdat hij bij Goodwin Sands komt. Dus je gaat wel deining krijgen vandaag. We moeten even kijken hoe erg het is. Het is een fantastisch mooie dag, 30 graden wordt het, schijnt. Maar ja, die deining, dat is natuurlijk altijd eventjes de vraag. En vooral ook de golfslag die daarbij zit. We hebben niet zo'n hele grote boot, dus nou laten we maar zien wat we op de site zijn.
The weather looks great, and there is only a slight swell.
You need it to stop.
Op de bodem vinden we onder andere koperen ketels, ankers, kanonnen, verschillende scheepsonderdelen, maar ook glazen flessen. We hebben ook kisten gevonden en ijzeren baren. Het is ontzettend gaaf om hier op dit wrak te mogen duiken. Allereerst natuurlijk vanwege het verhaal. Het is een VOC-schip. Daar wordt relatief weinig archeologisch onderzoek op gedaan, dus dat is al ontzettend mooi. Daarnaast de locatie. Het weer is fantastisch, het zicht onder water is extreem goed. Dus het is gewoon een prachtige plek om op te werken.
At the site, the team uses specialized photography techniques to map out certain features of the wreck.
Trying to take multiple images overlapping of archaeological features. So you want a kind of 360 degree capture of an object. So that means slowly going round the feature from all angles and then stitching those images back home at our base. This allows us to produce a 3D model of a feature, so we can then go back and show people exactly what the features look like, you know, what we're seeing on the seabed. It kind of allows someone who doesn't necessarily dive to experience the site for themselves.
The data is processed here at base camp, on dry land far removed from the underwater wreck. The results are staggering. The Rooswijk seems to come alive. You can almost touch it and experience its grim stories.
En ieder scheepswrak is wat wij maritiem archeologen een tijdsbel noemen. Dus het is een volledige stad, in dit geval een schip, met zijn eigen leefgemeenschap, de objecten, de cargo, een indicatie zijn voor een bepaalde tijdsperiode. Nu, die gaan ineens uit deze tijdslimiet uitgetrokken worden en worden ergens gedeponeerd. Het onderzoek dat wij kunnen verrichten, en waarom dat ook zo belangrijk is, is dat een heel goede indicatie is, want veel van echt bronnen van die tijd, over scheepsconstructie bijvoorbeeld, zijn er niet. Dus het is voor ons een manier, een idee te vormen hoe een schip werd gebouwd, hoe die werd behandeld.
It must have been a terrible storm on that fateful night. 300 people perished. We know nothing about them, apart from these traces of objects on the ocean floor. Strange concretions that bear no resemblance to a ship.
For an archaeologist, it's very easy to get wrapped up in questions of what the ship looked like and which bit went here, which bit went there. But we have to remember that almost all of the sites that we deal with on the seabed involve death and people's loved ones, and so you do have to keep reminding yourself that it's the people that really count.
The future of the site is uncertain. Plans to dredge parts of the Goodwin Sands in order to expand the port of Dover threaten the wreck. Millions of tons of sand would be displaced, potentially damaging the site. For Martijn, it's very straightforward. More research needs to be done at the site to uncover all those untold stories of the Rooswijk.
Elk object dat je uit de zeebodem haalt, vertelt niet één verhaal, maar vertelt meerdere verhalen. Door allerlei nieuwe technieken in te zetten, kunnen we heel veel nieuwe verhalen vertellen. En dat zijn vaak de verhalen die we niet uit historische bronnen kunnen halen. En dat maakt dus onderwaterarcheologie ook zo belangrijk voor de reconstructie van ons verleden.